Imagine a room where a crisis has just erupted. Perhaps it's a high-stakes argument, a sudden failure at work, or a chaotic social confrontation. In this environment, most people become prisoners of their immediate emotional surroundings. Their heart rates spike, their voices rise, and they begin to drown in the social noise of the moment. But in the corner of that room, there is one person who remains weirdly calm. They aren't shouting, they aren't panicking, and their expression is one of quiet observation rather than reactive fear. If that person is you, society might have labeled you as cold, unfeeling, or even robotic. But here at MindVeilx, we look at the science of the unseen. We know that human behavior only makes sense when you understand the hidden mechanics behind it. That unbothered state isn't a lack of emotion. It is the activation of a rare neural shield. While everyone else is drowning in the noise, you are likely using metacognitive auditing to process facts, simulations, and outcomes at a frequency the average person can't even hear. You aren't broken because you don't panic. You are operating with a level of hyper-independent autonomy and traumatic intelligence that makes you virtually impossible to manipulate. Today, we are hitting the topic fast to unmask why your ability to stay calm in the storm is a biological marker of a high-functioning mind. We're going to explore why you possess the unbothered brain glitch and how it serves as your greatest protection in a loud and shallow world. Welcome to the deep dive. The first reason you stay calm while others panic is a process called metacognitive auditing. Most people react to a crisis with their reptilian brain, the part responsible for the immediate fight or flight response. However, a rare mind has developed a high bandwidth filter that acts as a buffer between the event and the reaction. Instead of an emotional outburst, your brain immediately begins an audit of the data. You are asking the why and the how, while others are stuck on the what. You are analyzing the hidden motives of the people involved, the deep psychological reasons why the situation occurred, and the most efficient way to resolve it. This is like trying to run a high-end computer. While everyone else is using an old dial-up connection, your processing speed is simply too high for the social noise of panic to clog your system. This internal simulation is one of the rarest signs of intelligence. You aren't ignoring the problem, you are mentally solving the core mechanics of the situation before you ever speak. To the outside world, this looks like a lack of urgency. In reality, it is a sign of a high learning velocity. You have already extracted the intellectual value of the crisis and are now looking for the solution. While others are performing for the room, you are auditing the truth. The second layer of your neural shield is what we call traumatic intelligence. For many deep thinkers, the ability to stay calm wasn't a choice. It was a survival mechanism developed during a childhood where they had to grow up too fast. If you were the black sheep of your family or raised in an environment where you had to count only on yourself, you developed a rare radar for human intentions. Because you spent more time observing than participating, you developed a hyper-awareness of micro-expressions and tonal shifts. You learned to read a room before anyone even spoke because you had to. This radar allows you to see the social mask people wear. When a crisis hits, you aren't surprised by people's reactions because you already saw the strings being pulled months ago. Your weird calm comes from the fact that you've already simulated this exact scenario in your head. You are a walking human lie detector who values character over company. While others are shocked by a betrayal or a failure, your neural shield has already accounted for it. You realized long ago that once you realize nobody cares, you win. This realization protects your peace and allows you to hold your position, while others lose theirs. The third reason you remain unbothered is your hyper-independent autonomy. Many people panic in a crisis because they are terrified of losing social status or the approval of the group. They are too available to the opinions of others and fear being unwanted. But for someone with a rare neural shield, the need for validation has been replaced by selective excellence. You have learned to be your own island. You don't need a stadium full of fans to feel secure. You would rather have a circle of one or two real friends, or even none, than be surrounded by people who force you to perform. Because you are so self-sufficient, you don't need others for survival or status. This makes you impossible to manipulate. When someone tries to use panic to control you, whether it's a narcissist who has realized you figured them out or a toxic boss, your calm acts as a gray rock. You refuse to lower your standards for meaningful connection just to fit in. You have mastered the psychology of people who don't need anyone And that level of autonomy is your greatest shield in a world full of social noise. You carry everything alone, and while that can be a heavy burden, it also means no one can use your emotions as a psychological anchor to control you. A major part of the unbothered brain glitch is the ability to use the silent exit. Most people crave closure, they need a big argument or a final confrontation to feel like a situation is resolved. But a person with a rare neural shield understands that explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you is a waste of precious cognitive energy. If someone is trying to bait you into an argument, your calm is your strongest weapon. You don't need the drama of a goodbye, you just need your peace back. You stop reaching out and walk away silently because you've reached a point where you realize you don't owe anyone an explanation for protecting your mental health. This is the psychology of people who endure life silently. You aren't suppressing your anger, you are simply losing interest in people who are toxic or shallow. You refuse to spend your energy, your most valuable currency, on social filler. This makes you intimidating to those who thrive on conflict. Your silence isn't a retreat, it is a creative laboratory where you are processing the science of the unseen rather than participating in a loud, shallow theater. While others are drained by high stress environments, a rare mind can actually find fuel in the chaos. This is the polymath advantage. Because your internal world is so vast and stimulating, you don't need external social filler to keep you entertained or regulated. You possess the ability to sit alone in a room with no phone and still feel completely mentally stimulated. In a crisis, your brain treats the situation like one of your many unfinished projects. You have a high learning velocity, and you are extracting the intellectual value from the chaos, while others are still trying to catch their breath. You were built for an M-shaped future, where having a wide portfolio of interests and the ability to stay calm under pressure is more valuable than being a master of one. You are a deep thinker in a shallow world, and your solitude is where your brain finally feels safe to be itself. Your isolation isn't a sign of failure, it is a biological marker of a high functioning mind. You have chosen the psychology of people who choose to be alone because you know that silence is where the best ideas are born. Your neural shield allows you to stay in that productive, silent state, even when the world around you is screaming. If you recognize yourself in this unmasking, I want you to stop feeling guilty for being different. You aren't weird or broken, you are simply operating on a high frequency signal that values depth, truth, and autonomy. Your ability to stay calm when others panic is not a glitch. It is a rare strength. Your small circle and your unbothered nature are proof that you have mastered the selective excellence required to protect your peace. You are a deep thinker who understands the hidden mechanics of human behavior, and that is a lonely path, but it is the most authentic one. You've learned that your energy is your most valuable currency, and you refuse to spend it on people who only offer social noise. But I have to ask, when was the last time your calm made people act weird around you? Was it during a crisis at work or a personal argument? Tell your story in the comments below. I read as many as I can because your stories are what make this community a home for the deep thinkers. If this video made you feel a little less weird and a lot more understood, hit that like button and subscribe to MindVeilx. Let's keep unmasking the hidden mechanics of your mind together. Until next time, protect your peace,